You know, Brian gets asked all the time, what hearing protection does your crew use? The answer, IsoTunes. IsoTunes are the only brand that we found that offers great hearing protection, all-day comfort, and extended battery life to get through the day. Now through the 16th of June, save 20% on their 4 most popular models using the code BRIANS20 at checkout. Treat your hearing safety seriously. Invest in some good quality hearing protection before this 20% off sale from IsoTunes ends June 16th. If you get Brian's email newsletter, check your inbox for details, and we've also provided a link in the podcast description.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, today's podcast episode, I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes with you guys talking about some bidding, quoting, and pricing tips that I think could benefit quite a few folks out there. I know they could because twofold. One, these would have helped me a long time ago, so I know it would have helped me. But then number two, I've been getting some really good conversation going and some great comments and feedback back and forth, both on YouTube comments and on Instagram posts and then on Instagram DM about folks asking how we break some things down. And they're really, really good questions. I'm sure 99% of people know this, but for the one that doesn't, I'm here for you, which was probably me a long time ago because I came from pretty far back. I wanted to really come at this with two angles. One, how to not confuse the customer, but then number two, how to preserve your profit. And again, I know 99% of folks probably already understand this and already do this. To be totally fair, I know I have made a YouTube video on this topic, albeit it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I know I've talked about it on podcast before, albeit it's probably a year or two ago. As we always say on the podcast, a lot of new listeners to the show. So one thing I heard a long time ago was that news is nothing but old stuff to new people. So in that regard, I just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes so you guys can feel like you're, getting some value out of the conversation here from both sides. Is that fair? Does that make sense? So let's just go really, really short and sweet, very, very simple here. And by the way, my voice is not keeping up, by the way. Go figure, kids soccer practice took its toll again on my wife and I. We got sick again for quite possibly the 100th time in about a 100-day window. I swear we have done every single thing we can to wash our hands, sanitize our hands, clean up everything everywhere we are. We weren't big germaphobe people with our first kid. We weren't big germaphobe people with our second kid. But I'll tell you what, at least this is my experience as I'm already living it. There's just something about kids' sports that you're just not going to get away from with 10, 20, 30 little snot-nosed little kids or young kids or teenagers, I'm sure, as I get older and go through this whole process, about contracting something every time you go to freaking soccer practice or a game, I would have to imagine. It's just wild. Like, we play indoor soccer for anybody that cares. My little daughter, she's like 3. It's like co-parent led. It's super cute. Her next class in evolution, by the way, is going to just instructor-led or coach-led. So all the parents sit on the sidelines, and it's like kind of letting your little peanut go and blossom into their own little butterfly. And I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. We just graduated from our previous group here this last weekend. So it's super fun. It's what we do on Saturdays. We love it as a family. But folks, I don't know, maybe it's just us, but every time we go to the facility, and I know they're playing soccer with our feet, right? But when we come out of that practice, her hands are black as dirt. I mean, I don't understand it. They have the regular little kid soccer balls, but then also the little balls that are just more of like a rubber ball that you can kick even as a toddler and like send those things 20 feet, which is a big kick for those guys. But between the AstroTurf or whatever it is that we're playing on, little black asphalt beaded, instead of sand or real turf, it's like the artificial turf indoors. Between that stuff, the balls, the nets, the cones, whatever it is that we're touching, I swear it's like, you just know Once you see some other little kid too with a sniffle, like you're done. So that was us the last couple of days. That was Liz last week. I thought I dodged a bullet, but sure enough on Sunday, it got me, and I got probably another day or so of this little down up, and we're off to the races. By the way, so that's number one. My voice isn't going to probably last too long, so it will be a quote-unquote short and sweet episode. And then number two, thank you guys so much for the birthday wishes on Monday. It was my birthday. I turned the ripe old young age of 38. No midlife crisis or anything just yet, thankfully. I don't know if you guys can relate. I feel like you stop celebrating birthdays at about 30, 31, 32. You're like, hey, that's enough. I don't feel like time is getting any slower in life. You know, it just seems to get faster and faster. What used to take years feels like it takes, I'm not even kidding. I feel like it's months. Like we've already been in this camper for 9 months. It's been 14 months on the home build. I'm like, we just started yesterday. It's the good old one with kids. Like the days are long, but the years are short. I feel like that's what happens after your 30s. So if anybody knows how to make time slow down, holler at your boy. But also, man, it makes me just highly motivated to get a lot of big things done in life. One, you're never promised tomorrow. But number two, 38, I'm not saying it's halfway by any means, but at the same point, you're like, dude, we got to get moving if we want to hit some of these bigger financial goals and some bigger community impact goals that Liz and I have always aspired to, right? So anyway, thank you guys so much for the warm birthday wishes. There's no way I'm able to like kind of keep up on that. I go on Facebook a couple times a day, just I'm sure like most of you guys, but to reply to, a lot of people, it's like, geez, oh Pete's. So I didn't reply to every single person, forgive me. But thank you if you sent a message, an email, a DM, a text message, all the above. I really do appreciate that. It always feels good to be loved and cared for, right? I mean, just to be honest with you, I'm a real person just like you guys. So that was 1 and 2. I don't know if we have any other housekeeping. Oh, LAL tickets was the last one really quick, and then we're just going to get into it. Those should be able to go on sale next week. We're getting all of our ducks in a row behind the scenes. We're hoping to get that finalized and launch those tickets next week. We've got some exciting things that we're going to be announcing, including some additions to the master classes. A lot of great feedback. If you guys don't know, that was our live event that we've been doing for 5 years now. It's actually growing really, really well, and just very proud of it. I don't care if there's 100 people there or 500 people there. It's not the point. My point is making an impact for the people who do show up, and we just bring down the roof and bring down the house. So anyway, those tickets will go on sale. Should be hopefully June 18th or 19th here, so look forward to those next week. Please don't book anything just yet on the website. Please don't book anything just yet at the hotel. We got proper ways to funnel folks too, so everything gets tabulated and collected, and you guys get the best prices and the best discounts and a room block and blah, blah, blah. So just hang tight. I know a couple of you guys have been asking me, and I super appreciate that. But if you want to save the date, November 2nd, Saturday, Novi, Michigan, it's going to be just awesome time. All right, so just a couple quick things that I wanted to do for housekeeping, but let me talk about pricing, bidding, and quoting, and I'm going to do this for as long as I can until my voice gives out. When it comes to the business side and the customer side, that's two things I wanted to talk about for just a quick minute. Let's just zoom out really quick. This is the number one question I get when it comes to bidding and pricing. How do we prepare quotes? Now, one thing I'll say is I don't have it all figured out, not by any stretch of the imagination, nor do I profess to, nor do I think I do, nor do I think I ever will. Okay, this is just where I'm at the time. This could change in the future. This could change maybe depending on the type of job we do or as we get into more fancy things or bigger things or different types of clientele. But this is just how I see it for 99 out of 100 smaller landscape jobs, mulch jobs, aeration pricing, just as I see it for what I'm doing and what I'd imagine a lot of you guys are, where you guys are at and what you guys are doing, right? Like quote unquote on our pay grade. Again, if you're doing a $400,000 install for Walmart, hey, if somebody is doing that, holler at your boy. We'll get you on the show. And you can break that down for us, how they want it broken down. I appreciate that. But for right now, let's just talk about a simple mulch installation. Brian, how do you bid, price, and quote this? I'm not going to go through the whole process of how we bid and price with Element at this time. I do want to make a video sharing our screen about how our software is set up, how our budget's set up, how our templates are set up. So how we can quickly churn out bids and quotes. That's actually really, really exciting. We're about starting that process here to start the snow bidding process. That's going to be the next campaign going into July. We're looking to get a big jump on that to sell quite a bit of snow. So over time, I'm going to do hopefully a YouTube video, a little share screen, and you guys can track with that. But let's just zoom out really simply. Let's say a customer reaches out to you and says, we want a 10-yard mulch installation job. Okay, here's how I approach that. And again, forgive me if it's redundant. Some of you guys have already heard this. But if it's right now, let's say we're at $125 a yard installed. Now, again, I'll do another video, maybe even a whole other podcast, rip the audio from the YouTube video, talking about how we come up with that number. I'm not saying 125 is high. I'm not saying 125 is low. I'm just saying, let's just say for right now, the way you start to bid and price your mulch, which we have a video on YouTube, totally free, how we bid and price mulch. It's an oldie but a goodie. That has changed since we've been on to LMN. It's a little bit more accurate, but it'll get you in the ballpark and make you some good money. That's how we did it for 7-8 years. But let's just say you're at $125 a yard installed. Well, 10 yards of mulch, $125 a yard, $1,250. That includes labor. That includes material. That does not include bed prep. That does not include bed redefining. Anything over 10 yards of mulch, we always add a delivery fee, right? So that right there brings up a couple good questions, right? Number one's bidding and pricing. How do we get there? I'm not going to talk about that on today's podcast because there's more visual aid that I personally would like to see to help explain this. But let's just go to, we're presenting it to the customer. That's what I wanted to talk about today. We're presenting it to the customer. When you just bid $125 a yard at 10 yards and it's $1,250, or if it was 15 yards at $100, it's $1,500 or $1,495, right? Like, that's what the customer is going to see. Now, a couple things here. How we send that, it just says mulch installation or landscape installation, quantity 1, $1,250. Now, we do not break it down per yard. We do not break it down per labor rate. We do not break it down per linear foot for bed redefining. We don't break it down for bed prep and what it costs to clean that out. We don't break down cost of per pruning shrub or per cutback or per square foot. We don't give our production rates, our costs, or our markup or our margins on anything we do like that. Now, again, I know some of you guys have heard this before, so forgive me, but imagine you're brand new bidding this stuff. And here's why. Frankly, twofolds. One, you're not going to preserve the profit. But number two, you're just going to confuse the customer. And just like when you go through McDonald's today, it's hard to make a decision because there's so many menu items. There's so many options, right? And you're looking around, you're like, well, a Big Mac number one is $9.89. A 10-piece chicken nugget meal is, $8.99. Oh, do I want the 2-burger combo for $6.17 or whatever it is, right? Like, there's just too much going on. There's too many numbers. You have 10 value menus, $8 item menus or $2 item now menus or whatever it is now with inflation. You've got ice cream, you've got salads, you've got grilled chicken, dude, it's just overwhelming. And number one, you're trying to just make it a streamlined system for your customer. Hey, one number, one price, it's done. We'll make it look good. Okay. If you put down in the bidding process, and let's go to the other end of the spectrum, right? Breaking it down. If you put into your actual quote, 10 yards of mulch installed at $75 or for mulch, $60 per labor hour, $25 per labor hour, $85 per labor hour. Bed redefining 40 linear feet at $1 per linear feet. $245 for bed prep includes 2 hours of weed pulling and trimming things down or rototilling. Here's what you now have a conversation about, right? And again, I know this is probably redundant for a lot of you guys, but just work with me here. Maybe it's a little bit of a refresher even for you. But if you're new, I hope this helps you out. But if you submit that to the customer, let's say it's the same $1,250. Now you just opened up Pandora's box. And two things, you did not do the customer service because now you're going to confuse them. And now you're not going to be most likely making the profit you deserve because they're going to start nickel and diming you. It's just human nature. It is what it is. Now, nobody's bad, but you start asking unnecessary questions, right? People just start asking unnecessary. Now, I'm not saying they're not entitled to those questions. I'm not saying they're not privy to what your charging or what you're making. It's nothing like that. It's nothing, you're not trying to do a little end run on anybody here by any means. It's just not how business is done. It's just, sometimes we don't know that. Sometimes we're too kind and we give too much. These are just things I've learned over the years. It's the sales process. And so let's just play it out, and I'll do this the best I can until my voice gives out. But you submit that quote and the guy goes, $75 a yard for mulch. Let's say you're just breaking it down, material and labor. And he goes, $75 for a yard of mulch. He goes, I get it for $30 at Big Ray's landscape supplies down the road. And you go, yeah, but we have to get it here and deliver it. And the guy goes, well, I'll get it delivered. Or I've got an old utility trailer. Or I've got a new Chevy 1500 pickup. I'll go get it. I'll tarp and go get the 4 or 5, 10 yards. I'll bring it here and I'll save you guys some money. I'll save myself some money. Now, we all get paid on a markup on time and materials. So now you're just example one. It just gets me frustrated, but that's example one. You're breaking things down, and now your customer knows how many quantities, the price you're paying, the price that you're charging him, right? It just makes it awkward. Somebody's like, are you making money on this landscape install? Like, are you charging me $75 and you're going to buy this stuff at $30 a yard? Well, yes, sir. Yeah, you're charging me $45 a yard. You're charging me more profit than it actually costs the material. Yeah, I know. It's just, I don't know why. It's just what it is. It's what we do. I don't know. I saw Brian's Law Maintenance YouTube video. That's just what he does. To see what I'm saying? It just opens up Pandora's box. Labor, so again, usually that conversation is, well, I'll buy the material and you just get it here and you can just do it for labor. Hey, I understand you charge me $45 an hour to put it in. Hey, that's fair because I don't want to do it. It's going to be back-breaking work on a Saturday or a Thursday afternoon. It's going to be 88 degrees that day. Hey, I'd much rather you do it. Hey, at $40 an hour seems fair.
K-U-J-O, Cujo. You know the name. Now experience this incredible work shoe for yourself. Hey guys, Brian here. And just a few years ago, I wondered why there wasn't some lightweight, functional shoe for the lawn care industry. A couple of weeks later, I get a message from this new company, Cujo Yardwear, letting me know about a new shoe they created for lawn care pros. We tried them out, put them to work, and the rest, they say, is history. The guys and I love Cujos because they are lightweight, breathable, super comfortable, and keep our feet dry. No more running shoes with flimsy support and soaked socks due to the morning dew or a passing spring shower. Cujo Yardwear is a family-owned company. Sean and Kelsey are a brother-sister team, and they seriously care about offering the best products for our industry. Check them out at Cujo.com. That's Kujo.com. And don't forget to use the Brian's 10 code to save 10% on your next order. Get a pair for you and a pair for your crew. You'll be so happy that you did.
$40 an hour is what you're charging for labor. It doesn't mean you're making profit on that labor. And frankly, if you're billing out for anything less than $30, $35 an hour, you're probably losing money when you incorporate all the taxes and payroll taxes and overhead fees that goes into paying labor. So if you're under $40, $50 an hour, labor-wise, you're probably not making any money on that. And if you're just like, hey, I'm charging my customers $35 for labor to put it in, you're not making the profit on the material, and you're definitely not making any profit on your labor. These are things that I would have probably intuitively knew, but probably would have debated you a little bit on until I really had a big grasp on my numbers, or more of a grasp on my numbers by switching to LMN this spring. It is that good. Like I'm not trying to convince anybody to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm just saying, like, you have to know how to run a real and operate a real business. And I'm not saying if you don't use LMN, you don't have a real business. I would just press you to say, do you actually know what it costs per man hour in your company? Do you know what it should be charged and billed out for per man hour? Do you know how to incorporate a markup in your material? How do you know it's appropriate? How do you know it's correct? How do you know that you're making profit? What's your break even on a job? Like, if you can't answer those questions, I'm not trying to be a tough guy by any means. I'm just saying these are the things that I couldn't answer if somebody pressed me. And so I had to make the evolution, okay? Little plug there, I guess, for LMN. But as we go down this conversation, now the guy's paying for labor. You may or may not be making any money on labor, right? But it could be a fair price to him, but now you don't make any money on your material. So you haven't made any money on this job. $40 per linear feet. He goes, I got a flat shovel, or I got a spade. I can go define those beds. $1 a foot. Who do you think you are? Well, my bed redefiner tool cost me like $800. A new blade's $40. It takes me, 20, 30 minutes to grind out the beds, then to blow them clean, then to trim them 90 degrees, then to blow them clean again. That's 30 minutes to an hour to bed redefine, even 50 feet of bed. That takes time and material. If I'm building myself out at $30, $40, $50, $100 an hour, there's $50 to $100 in labor. $1 a foot's not even covering the game. But yet, here we are. Again, you're just confusing the customer, right? They go $40 to edge some beds. Me and my brother-in-law, Scotty, did that over last weekend. No, they're good this year. Don't even worry about it. You're like, okay. So that's mulch price, that's labor price, that's linear foot, and then bed prep. They're like $250 to rototill the beds or to nuke them or to pull some weeds. What are you guys talking about? I'll send my nephew out there. Just let me know what day you're doing the mulch, maybe on Friday. And I'll send my nephew out there. I'll get him in. He needs to get out there anyway. He's 15. He's playing video games all day. These young kids, they don't want to work anymore. I'll get him out there and I'll pay him $15 an hour cash. Okay? Sounds great. We all know what happens. You show up Friday, the beds aren't done. Hey, what happened to Junior? Oh, I couldn't get him off the screen. He didn't take his ADHD medicine. He went ballistic, and we just couldn't get him out here. Okay, fair enough. But now he's going to go $245 to bed prep, and maybe you've got the right tools, the right equipment, the right materials, and you can knock that out in an hour. And he's going to go $245. He's thinking it's all profit. You made $245 an hour. He's like, I work in IT. I've got a 4-year degree, and I've got my master's, and I'm making $120,000 a year. My hourly rate is $42 an hour. That's what he gets paid. And he's thinking some lowly landscaper is making $230, $240 an hour. Does that make sense? Like, there's already a disconnect there that he thinks that you're taking him through a loop, right? Like, right or wrong, optics or not, profit or not, he doesn't know how to run a business, most likely. But he's thinking you're making $240 an hour off that guy. And it just makes this weird working relationship, this weird dynamic, doesn't it? So, number one, he's going to go, no, I'll trim down the weeds and I'll go get a gallon of Roundup. After I saw your price breakdown, what you're challenging me for a gallon of Roundup or whatever, obviously make sure you're licensed to spray and all that mess. But he's going to go, I'll take care of all that. And now your mulch job that went from $650 or $1,250 in this example, right? He's going to get his nephew to pull the weeds. He's going to spade the bed edge. And then he's going to get the mulch delivered at cost. And now he just wants you to charge him labor at $40 an hour to install labor or to install mulch. And he's got a $400 labor bill at most for, 10, 12, 15 yards of mulch. Instead of it being $1,200, $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 in revenue and probably cleaning up 50% on that, you just worked in the slaving sun 88 degrees out for, $300, $400 gross. You still got overhead to that because you got to pay payroll. And once you pay yourself payroll for the actual expenses that it costs you to run that labor, more than likely you're down to zero gross profit and you basically are minus 10 to 15% net profit. You paid that guy to do his mulch. You paid for the privilege of being there all day, slaving in the Georgia heat, Florida heat, Texas heat, Virginia heat, Tennessee heat, right? And you're like, well, I never would have thought, or I never would have knew, or nobody's ever broken it down that way. There you are. There you go. I wish somebody would have told me this 10, 15 plus years ago. I will just tell you frankly, most of us still today, even after thousands of episodes of everybody's podcast, we're all probably most likely not charging enough. Not charging enough for what we actually should be making as either A, profit as business owners, or B, definitely for profit as guys being in the field way more than we all need to be, should be, or at least just for right now, that's just what it is, we are. Right? Like if you're in the field getting paid what your guys are getting paid, not necessarily just the hourly rate, but there's no profit left over or no 15, 20% profit, I'm just telling you, it probably serves you better to stay home. And that's just the honest truth. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be tough. I'm just telling you, like, folks, I hope you make profit. I want you to make profit. But if you continue to break things down like this, very likely you're not going to line yourself up to run and bid your jobs profitably. You're going to confuse the snot out of your customers. And more than likely, you're going to make the relationship go south just because you're at odds with each other on the pricing. Let's get to the other end of the spectrum, okay? It's like the old saying, the old meme. You guys have seen it, I'm sure. It floats around every spring. $500 client. There's like a paragraph. Hey, please text me when you show up. Text me when you're there. Love to get photo updates and details. Please text me when you leave. Love to make sure that I follow up with you. What's your warranty? Blah, blah, blah. And this is for like a $500 job. And for a $50,000 client, it's money sent. Let me know when the job's done. Thank you. $50,000 client, right? And it's not so much the revenue. It's not so much the cost of the job, right? I want to make sure we're clear on that. It's just how you approach the job. What were the expectations? What was the kind of customer? Were they asking how much you charge per yard? How much do you charge per labor hour? How much? Folks are educated. That's okay. But as Rory Kendall joked once on one of our Link live streams, and I think this meme floated around a little while ago as well, if a customer asks, how much to do the job, can you break it down for me? And I know this sounds funny, and I know this sounds like a cop-out, and I know this sounds like a meme, and I know this sounds like a good chuckle, but it's the truth. If you don't adopt this, I'm not going to apologize for what you open up for Pandora's box in your own personal company. And frankly, just to be totally honest, you're just sabotaging the industry. You're whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not, you're holding the industry down. You're holding the industry back. Please stop doing it. But it's for this mulch job, for example. Can you break that down for me? 10 yards of mulch. What does that look like? Yeah, $1,250 to do the job. $0 to not do the job. Right? I mean, that's how you break things down. Okay. Also, like, there's, folks right now, let me circle back to the other end of the spectrum. Right now, we're at the punch out phase, for a house. Praise the Lord. We got like probably 6 to 8 weeks left. A lot of the big stuff is done, but we're getting a lot of, the nickel and diming stuff, the last 8 weeks. I knew this would happen. This is the truth. It's just how it works. Nothing bad. There's a lot of budget still left for this kind of stuff. Part of our main draws. But you get little things like who's building the flower boxes on the exterior of the home, who's building the columns, who's finishing the trim track for the roll down screens, who is finishing up the front door installation, who's punching all the holes in for all the cabinet hardware. You're like, oh, I can drill holes in a cabinet. And I literally said that to my builder. He goes, yeah. He goes, everybody says that right about now to save a couple bucks. Let me give you an example. He goes, each one of those doors are $220 on your vanities. He goes, if you miss drill or you drill through something or the hole's not right, it doesn't look right, you're on the hook now for what, let's say a $2,000 vanity. He goes, are you willing to do that? Or do you want to pay $20 a hole from the actual like main trim carpenter? Yeah, no, that's a great perspective. I never really thought that. I'm going to pay $20 a hole. And you're like, well, there's how many holes are there to drill out or tap out for, all the vanities, all the kitchen cabinets, all the stuff that's in the house. I don't know, bro. Probably 100 holes. Well, 100 times 20 is $2,000, right? So we're getting like all these little bills, $2,000 here, $3,000 there, $1,000 here, $4,000 there. And a lot of the stuff I'm trying to cash flow, just some of the overages. Obviously I'm not going to be able to cash flow the whole overages or the house or in general. But nonetheless, I'm like, hey, $1,000 here, $2,000 here. Let's try to do that without running our life redline financially. So the reason I say that is as you come up to this, all these all these contractors are proposing these little invoices and little jobs. And you know what they all break down for me? Installation. I just had one literally yesterday, another one I approved. Installation of exterior columns. It was the material of choice. It was the number of columns. He was doing something else. Oh, I think installation of flower boxes. The price was $4,000 flat. Now, I don't know what he's making profit on the job. That's up to him, right? But it wasn't installation of each flower box. Now, some people do this. Some people still break it down, and our trim carpenter broke down a bunch of stuff. But let me get back to that. It wasn't $800 per column. It wasn't $150 per flower box installed. It wasn't 64 hours on site, to install this stuff over the next 2 weeks or whatever, right? It wasn't $1,200 for material. right? It was just, it's $4,000 to do the columns and the flower boxes or whatever. I frankly, I don't truly remember the invoice, but catch what I'm saying. As a customer, I'm the customer now, right? I didn't go to him and say, hey man, what are you making profit on this job? What are you getting the cost of for that Asdale material or whatever it is? I don't even know, like this white laminated stuff. What are you getting a sheet of that for? Or a piece of the plywood of that material for? Oh, you're sourcing it from Man's Lumber and Millwork in Canton, Michigan. I'm going to go get it at Home Depot. They're charging you $28 a board. I'm going to go get it for $22 a board. Save myself some money. That's profit, time and materials that carpenter should be making. I don't want to know that he's charging me $80 an hour for his labor rate, for his skill set as a freaking crazy awesome carpenter, right? Because I'm going to go, man, I only make $20 an hour, $25 an hour, $50 an hour. How's that guy to feel like he's worth $80 an hour? He's taking me for a loop, right? It just mucks up the business relationship. And by the way, if you don't like this, that's fine. Propose something different. Because this is arguably just how it works with contractor and trade businesses, right? Like I kind of roll in laughter sometimes when people criticize capitalism. It's a flawed system. It's not perfect. It blah, 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 blah. And I go, you're right. Now, that being said, it's still the best financial system, the best economic system, I should say, that's ever blessed this planet. Give me something better. Well, we should try this. Well, those clearly don't work. We've all been there, done that. That killed 50 million people. That doesn't work. Well, we can do this. Oh, that doesn't work either. Did you ever hear the story of the first time of the Mayflower and then the first winter and the second winter, how that changed? Go listen to Paul Harvey's dissertation on that. Some of you guys, if you know, you know. But capitalism's evil. Capitalism's wrong. I go, listen, dude. It's brought more wealth to the planet. Helped raise the standard of living for more people on the entire planet, bar none, not debatable, whatever. Is it sinless? No. Is it perfect? No. Is it perfection? Of course, no. There's still flaws and inherent portions of it that stink or have gotten way out of whack, especially the last 10, 20, 30 years with corporatism and crony capitalism and big corporations running the show. We all know this stuff. But in the meantime, small business ownership, economic-wise, capitalism, what I'm explaining about with this quote, bro, that's just how it works. If you want to propose something different, let me know. Okay, but in the meantime, this is how it's done. So why fight the system, if you will, right? And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying this is what works and has worked for a long time. And this is what is moving the needle forward. As a customer, I didn't want that guy giving me 17 different options. Hey, well, we can do this for $651, this for $812, $951 here, $1,200 this, $131, $131, $131. Like, dude, I don't need to know that much. I just want it done. I just want the job done. I'm looking for the end result. I'm looking for the finished product. Do you think your customers, most of them care about what you make on profit, the material cost, your labor cost, et cetera, or do they just want the beds landscaped so they can enjoy the graduation party or the dinner party they're going to host this weekend? Right? Like, there's an oldie but a goodie. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. That's the perspective. So I just wanted to break this stuff down for a little bit. I'm surprised my voice lasted this long. Hopefully it's not too raspy to listen to, but I really do care about this topic. And some of you guys have heard this stuff before. Some of you guys haven't. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're wrong. Nothing like that. I'm just giving you data. You do what you want. But just like when you go do a weekly mow price for $52.50, you don't tell the customer, hey, I've got $28 into the game between my overhead, between labor and my equipment costs, and my true net profit is 15%. I'm going to make $7.21 on this $52 cut. We don't break anything else down like that. So why are we doing that with our landscape jobs? Okay. If you want to help the customer understand more, put in the client notes or the customer notes the full breakdown of what you're going to do. If they say, well, can you break this down for me in a contract? Oh, of course. No problem. In the paragraph, customer will receive 2 inches of freshly installed mulch on all landscape beds. This also includes bed redefining, with a bed redefiner tool, not a spade edge in parentheses, because that's different. That's a different charge. Takes more time. Beds will be de-weeded and bed prepped, ready for fresh mulch installation. Premises will be cleaned off, blown off, and look great by the end of the installation. Whatever, just a little paragraph like that. It doesn't say we'll bring in 10 yards of mulch. We'll have 8 labor hours on staff or on site. We'll have 40 linear feet of bed prep done, and a $75 mulch delivery free from your local landscape yard. Right? Don't break that stuff down. Right? Please don't break that stuff down. It's not a disservice to your customer. It's almost a service to your customer. And I hate to spin it that way because I could see both sides. But just like the value menu at McDonald's, just like my carpenter proposing a quote to me, you're just confusing everybody. And frankly, if your sales process is gumming up, you might be doing a little bit of this. Either 1, you're breaking things down too much, or 2, you're talking too much, or 3, you've got, I don't want to say the wrong customer. You just have a customer that's looking for too much. If they're looking for this much handholding for a $500 mulch install, $1,500 mulch install, frankly, even the 10 to 20 grand, it's just too much. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be explained to, talked to, educated. Like, hear what I'm saying. Two things can be read at the same time on this podcast. They have every right to know all the above. But it's not really their business to know what you're making for profit and what you're charging them, other than the price that you're presenting them. Right? It's none of their business. And frankly, to just continue to play devil's advocate, those folks, the ones that are going to be people that want to partner with you long term, they want to see you make money. Okay, so 1, if they do ask, they're just nosy, like that's okay. But 2, most of my customers, they don't even ask prices. Hey, can you do our beds? Yeah, no problem, Miss Susie. It's going to be probably anywhere from $750 to $2,000. Most likely, most of the lawns we're doing here are about $1,250. Okay, sure. When can you guys tackle it? Hey, next week, Wednesday, we got room on the schedule. Okay, knock it out. That's the point where I like to get to, and you're like, well, that's really nice, Fullerton, to have an existing customer base. No, that's how we're bidding the new customers too. Because $1,250 plus or minus $200 to $500, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. If they're nickel and diming, they either don't have the money for it, or they're on a budget. And I don't mean like in a good way, like they're just being too cheap. They're trying to gum up our system. Like, things have to move quick. And I'm not saying that those people, you can't slow down a little bit once in a while to talk to some of them, but this is just what I've noticed out in the marketplace, okay? Most of the time, dealing with those people too much or too long, they end up stealing your energy. They end up stealing your joy. They make you self-doubt. And frankly, they're not fun to work with, because usually they're the ones that are home or want to be home during the day you would do the job to make sure that you actually installed all 8 yards that you brought on site. Or, hey, how much mulch is in that dump trailer? Well, your team member says 10. You bid it for 12. You know your local landscape yard always does heaping buckets, so it rounds up to 12. But your new guy says you only asked for 10. And they go, well, your laborer said you only did 10. I hope to see that reflective in the balance. Yeah, what my new guy that's been here for 6 weeks doesn't know is how they actually load up the trailer. There's 12 yards of mulch in here. I know that. I've measured my trailer before, weight on certified scales. I know what's in here. I know what a yard of mulch weighs, or a ton of aggregate weighs, 2,000 pounds. But you guys know what I'm saying? That's the difference. You don't need customers like that. They're not fun. They steal the joy from everybody. And it's just something that we just, I don't want to say we don't tolerate, we just don't deal with that much. But it's because of the sales process. Like my friend Rory said, how much, can you break that down for me? Yeah, $1,250 to do the job, 0 to not do the job. Peace out, Cub Scout. Hey, how much is that patio? $12,200. How much, can you break that down for me? Yeah, you're going to be sitting on lawn chairs and grass for $0 or a beautiful patio in 2 weeks for $12,200. Are you in or are you out? And I know I'm being a little bit of a jerk, but that's just how it works, folks. And I'm telling you, not only as a business owner, but from the customer side, I don't care every single material cost. Do I hope I get a good deal? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. But do I care exactly about what every board costs and his labor hour, my carpenter, for example, that's doing our columns and the flower boxes? Nope. Just get it done. I want to move in, right? Nope. I don't care about the mulch price. Just get it done. I have a grad party in 2 weeks, a 4th of July party. All right. So I can't believe I went this long on a podcast with my voice that's literally gone. If you guys enjoy the show, maybe share it if you want, just to do me a solid. I really appreciate that. I'm doing the best I can to give you guys as much as I can while my voice is coarse, but or hoarse or whatever the saying is. But I've seen this conversation probably no less than 10 times with bidding and pricing and estimates, and we've been showing a lot of the weed enhancement jobs, landscape jobs, mulch installation jobs that we've been doing on YouTube and Instagram. So people are asking, hey, how do you break that stuff down? So this is how we do it. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. And if you're new, I'm sure this was really helpful for you. If you guys are a veteran and you guys have been around the block, maybe just jog your memory on something and can help you guys be a little bit better today. All right. Well, that's what I got for you guys. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful rest of the afternoon. Have a beautiful rest of the week. And man, it's been a great season so far. I'm going to do a little bit of a Q1, Q2 breakdown here, probably the next week or two, but business is good. The lines are crossed for us. We are going to be up year over year. If we aren't already, we should be June forward, which is really exciting on our projections. So we're in a growth mode. We are, moving the needle forward, and it's really, really exciting times over here for Brian's Lawn Maintenance. All right, over and out, guys. Love you, appreciate you. Have a great day. Apologize for my voice being a little bit raspy, but this is the best I got for you. Hopefully, I was able to help you out. Have a good one.
Kujo, Cujo. You know the name, now experience this incredible work shoe for yourself. Hey guys, Brian here. And just a few years ago, I wondered why there wasn't some lightweight, functional shoe for the lawn care industry. A couple of weeks later, I get a message from this new company, Cujo Yardwear, letting me know about a new shoe they created for lawn care pros. We tried them out, put them to work, and the rest, they say, is history. The guys and I love Cujos because they are lightweight, breathable, super comfortable, and keep our feet dry. No more running shoes with flimsy support and soaked socks due to the morning dew or a passing spring shower. Cujo Yardwear is a family-owned company. Sean and Kelsey are a brother-sister team, and they seriously care about offering the best products for our industry. Check them out at Cujo.com. That's Kujo.com. And don't forget to use the Brian's 10 code to save 10% on your next order. Get a pair for you and a pair for your crew. You'll be so happy that you did.
Before you turn off the podcast, there are two things that we believe you will be highly interested in. First, if you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you'll want to subscribe to our free email newsletter. It shows up in your inbox 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. The second thing is we have just launched Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Now you can be a part of an exclusive community that links you to those who can help you grow in your lawn care business. Joining Lawntrepreneur Link will give you the tools that you need to stay accountable, get real-time expert advice, and find belonging in a community of folks who are passionate about the lawn care industry just like you. Visit LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com to learn how Link membership gives you unique access to monthly hangouts, bidding hour calls, coaching calls, expert lessons, and more. Stay ahead of the curve and level up your business with a membership to the Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Find an easy-to-use link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.